I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and today we are revisiting an old episode, Healthy Boundaries by Chase Hill, and we're going to see if anything's changed.
A lot has changed.
Setting boundaries. I think so too, but before we get into that, tell me about your weekend. What did you do this weekend? How was it?
Oh my gosh. Well, as a lot of you might not know, Scarlett is in the wonderful world of our daughter, 11-year-old, is in the wonderful world of horse showing. And she is at arguably the biggest horse show in the country. It's Wellington International. And it's called the Winter Equestrian Festival. So we are on, I think, the third week of 12. And so we spent the weekend in Wellington.
It's a 12-week, that's the
event.
Kind of the season is 12 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the circuit. Yeah, I'm learning all of these things, but
so is there somebody who's hot shit on the circuit? Everyone looks at him and is like, ooh, there he goes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And there's McLean Ward. I think he's one of the best writers in the world. And
That's his name, McLean Ward?
McLean Ward. And
I love these fancy names. I love these rich people names.
Oh, rich people.
It could go two ways. It could be either a rich person's name or he could be from a trailer park. But that's a rich person.
But I mean, they kind of sound the same.
Yeah.
Real rich people and real poor people go along with their names.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of wealth in that industry. There's a lot of wealth. So, I mean, yesterday Tom Brady was there.
Oh, cool.
Do you know who Tom Brady is?
Football player, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brady Bunch dad, right?
Yeah. Love him.
That was the dad from the Brady Bunch. I love him.
Yeah.
Why was Tom Brady there?
I don't know.
I
think he has a little girl that likes, I don't know if she rides or anything. I really don't know. I try to stay out of people's lives.
Okay. That's your boundary. You respect people's boundaries.
Even when they don't have any.
Care.
Yeah. I know. But it's really cool because Scarlett has really good competition. She loves it. She respects a lot of the people she rides with, which I think feels really good to her.
Does she have somebody who she just looks up to? Is this McLean Ward? Is this the guy does she really look up to him, or does she have her own?
Her number one is Beezy Madden.
I love these names. Jeez,
yeah,
Beezy Madden.
Yeah, Beezy Madden. If you look her up, she's really cool. She's just this little equestrian. She's small, so Scarlett really looks up to her, and she's I don't know if she's in her 50s now, but you can ride for a very long time, and so it's a hard sport, but you can do it for a while, and but she almost got to talk to her, and she had planned to say, Beezy, when I was going to quit because I had, a bad trainer or, several different things. She goes, when I was going to quit, I just would pull up your videos and I wouldn't want to quit anymore.
Oh,
I know. And I just love it. It's a really weird subculture.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I spent my weekend.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. She did great.
Good.
Yeah. And as she placed against, there's kids out there, their parents are Olympians and Olympian riders. They have all the resources in the world. So she's that's what she loves, though. She wants to place against those kids. And I'm I'd be just take me to a mediocre show and I'll be the big fish in the small pond. But she doesn't like that.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I was the best on the junior varsity team. And then my coach is like, "Do you want to join varsity?" And I'd be the worst on the varsity team. And I was like, it was such a hard decision because I'm like, I could either be the best on the junior varsity team or the worst on the varsity team.
What
But
did you
ultimately,
choose?
I chose to be the worst on the varsity team because I wanted to up my game.
Yeah, the worst of the
So,
best is the best is better than the best of the worst.
right. And but it was hard. I cried a lot because I wasn't I wasn't even, I was really on the worst out of the whole varsity. So there were lots of tears but it was good. It was stepped out of my comfort zone and went for it because I knew it would be ultimately better for my game. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's a good either or question. We play that a lot. Would you
Yeah.
rather be the best of the worst or the worst of the best?
Yeah. 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 Like that question.
Yeah, I'd like to be the mediocre of the mediocre.
I don't want to be a leader, but like a first follower.
I want to be a leader.
I don't want to be a leader, just a first follower. It's fine.
Yeah,
First or second.
I
Ah,
love it. Yeah, you don't want to be Jesus. You want to be one of those disciples.
disciples. Is it apostle or disciple?
It's a disciple.
Apostle. Apostle. I think disciples is like gang signs.
I think you're wrong there. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I think they're both of his apostles and are his disciples.
Disciples. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
think yeah, yeah. I think they're the same thing. But I'd rather be one of those 12 than actual Jesus.
yeah.
Although a couple of them got hung on crosses next to him. No, oh, no,
No, but one
those
of
were
them,
the robbers.
yeah, and then one of them was hung because he betrayed Jesus. It was Judas.
Hmm.
He did it for the money. The money, money, money.
And then there was Judas Priest. Is that a band?
That's a band.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
They're like, I think, a metal band.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was fun.
so good. Sounds like
Fun
a
ride
cool
there.
weekend.
How about you? What did you do?
I I was just preparing because I'm doing a huge training for this company, and but what's really nice is I'm in a very nice hotel. Even though I live in the city where the training is, they are so nice that they're like, "Here you go, you can stay at this hotel." So I have a staycation, a bit of a staycation. Yeah,
That's
it's really
so
nice.
awesome. I love great
I
hotels. What's your
love good
favorite part
hotels.
about it?
The huge, ginormous bed and the fresh sheets, number one. The silence, because the rooms are usually pretty nice. I love just how clean everything is and pristine. I love that people clean your room when you leave,
Yeah.
and then you come back to just a fresh room, like very fresh. And this one, I love ordering room service. And this one has amazing. I'm going to give a shout out. It's the NYX Hotel in Warsaw, Leonardo Group. They're like, the service in this hotel is amazing. Like, they're super friendly. I left like a notebook when I checked in. The girl came, like, make sure I got it. Like, they're just amazing.
Yeah.
They like worked with me to get a great room. Like, they listen to your needs. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
That we just before we left or before we got into Wellington on Thursday, we were up at the World Equestrian Center. And this is the place I want to take you. It's called the Equestrian. It's a hotel.
Ooh, sounds
Same.
fancy.
It's so fancy and so lovely and so wonderful. And Scarlett
Yeah.
calls it home.
Get used to it, girl. I love that. Yeah, I love I love five-star hotels where all the little details are so well thought out.
Me too.
Like the even down to the smell when you walk into the lobby, to the little snacks, to the little shampoos and moisturizers, and it's all just like a luxury, gorgeous experience. Like, I love that.
Same. So Jason bought me one of those scent things for the whole house for Christmas. So for our new
Oh.
house, we're putting it in. And we found the scent of the equestrian while we were there, and we're going
What's the
to
scent?
bring it into our.
What's the scent?
It's I can't remember the name of it, but they sell it in
Send
one
it-
of their
like, send
shops
me the
there.
name of
Yeah,
it.
I'll send
I
you
would
it.
love-
Yeah, it's
yeah.
so cool.
Then I could kind of be there,
Oh God, it's so
olfactory wise.
Well, I hope when you come, we were able to go there because I think
Yeah.
you would just die. You would love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
cool. Is there anything that you don't love about it? Like, is it a lot of pressure to be a certain way? Like when you're there, like, or is everyone really nice and like friendly, or
everyone's
is it kind of,
lovely.
yeah, okay.
Everyone's lovely. See, like when you're like a lot of them are equestrians, one, and by the time you get to these level of shows, they're so. I think you can circle back. Like you can get into like early like money, like new money, and it can be obnoxious, and then you circle back at some point, and like all they care about is writing. They don't care about
Yeah.
any other thing on earth. Like it's not pretentious at all at that level, I don't think. I mean, I it is, but like not compared to like maybe a step down or two.
Yeah.
Because there's just everybody is kind and has class, and they're very excited about Scarlett. Like they meet her and just love to like they're all interested in the same things. And of course, I'm interested in her.
Yeah.
So like, like it's there's no certain way to be because everyone is just so happy to be there.
That's amazing. And you know what I love about things like that? Like you start learning the language of equestrians and everyone like knows that you're speaking the language and it's like this bond between people if you're doing the same stuff. I remember going to like big tennis events and that was the thing. Like everyone knew the lingo and yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Community, man. It's the way to
Yeah.
go, man.
I think you would love it. Like, I mean, it has all the fancy, like, I mean, everyone who started out making horse stuff. Like you can get a Hermes saddle. You can get like, I mean, they all just started that way. That's
How
how,
much is
like,
an Hermes saddle, I wonder? Probably a lot.
I can't remember. I think we looked it up once.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just really fancy, and of course, leather work is just gorgeous, and the boots and the whole outfits are all like amazing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool if you're into that. But and I
That's
think you'd
cool.
love it. I think you'd love it.
Okay.
I can't wait to take you.
I can't wait to go. So,
But oh, what?
yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead. What did you want to say?
Well, my renovation is really like getting good.
I saw in the video. That's amazing.
We're doing this barn house. We're renovating it. It's just like off. It's just really getting cool. So I'm excited
That's
about
cool.
that.
Yay.
And I'm excited that we got to listen to. Let's talk about this book. What book are we? We're rehashing.
We're rehashing Healthy Boundaries by Chase Hill just to see if anything stuck. Like, how are we doing with our boundaries? Are we any better? So just to recap, Chase Hill wrote a pretty simple book about boundaries and things you can say and how to work on setting your boundaries. And there were 7 types of boundaries that he talked about. So physical, sexual, emotional, intellectual, financial, and time. And then like the bottom line non-negotiables. But I think you and I both said we had struggled with time boundaries. Like we were yes people and we were doing stuff for everybody else and we were exhausted. I think that's what we struggled with the most. So
Yeah, that's exactly. It's so funny. Like going back, I think that book really, really did change a lot of things. And I think that I was listening to it this morning and I was so shocked because I look at our lives now. Like, I think changing those boundaries, and I think it kind of got rid of some of the riffraff in our lives.
I completely agree with you. And I think what's great about all these self-help books is you become more self-aware and therefore you become aware that something needs to be changed and so you do it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what this book did for me. Like it helped in 2 areas. One, the time boundaries. So I started thinking of my time as sort of money and energy and like how much am I willing to give to who? And then second was the emotional. What is acceptable for me or not in terms of emotional? And that one, when I started setting boundaries there, it created a little bit of
Yeah, me too.
some people weren't happy, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look back at my life because that was our 12th episode, and we're 68 now, right? This is
Yeah.
going to be the 68th. So I look back at my life then. I had so many energy vampires in my life. And I think by my setting boundaries and saying no and just kind of not retreating, but like just putting up a little bit of a boundary, I think it led to a lot of things that pushed them out of my life. And I think that that's a really, really important thing. Like when I think what people should know is when you decide to put up boundaries, you are going to lose people in your life. You're going to gain people, but you're going to lose people.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to start putting up those boundaries? How was the process for you? Because we read the book, you became aware there's like, hey, there's energy vampires in my life. I'm giving away too much of my time and energy to these people. I have to do something about it. Then how was the process for you to actually start setting the boundaries?
Well, it's funny because like it wasn't easy. I think it is much easier now. Like I started taking, I call it like quarantine day, as you know, which are Wednesdays. We do not schedule anything. We're in the home. We're doing just our thing in our own home. And it was very hard for me to say no to people on Wednesdays. Like I mean it like, but now it's just like people will be like, "Oh, can you do that on Wednesday?" I'm like, "Oh no, Wednesdays are bad." Like I just don't do
Quarantine day, yeah.
We don't do Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So like, it became very easy over the last year to do it. And now this is so funny. I was listening to that podcast and we've gotten so much better, by the way, so much better. But I was listening to I had FOMO. I no longer really have FOMO. I have no FOMO.
No FOMO.
Like,
No
I got
FOMO.
no FOMO.
No FOMO.
I'm just like, I mean, I guess I just look at it differently now. I'm like, if I'm there, if I want to be there, I'm going to be there. I don't care if I miss out on anything. It really has like been a fundamental shift for me.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like a driver's seat situation, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like amazing. You said emotional has like affected the emotional boundaries. Tell me a little more about that.
Well, so first of all, this book helped me realize that certain things that were happening, certain behaviors of family members were not acceptable to me.
Okay.
Certain things that were being said to me were not acceptable. So I started saying, I find that unacceptable and you cannot talk to me this way, or you can, but I'm not going to sit around and listen to it, So I started
Right.
setting these boundaries to what was acceptable for me. And
So hard.
the people were surprised. First of all, I got a lot of, you've completely lost your sense of humor. What do you like? Why are you therapy talking to me? So I got a lot of like interesting reactions, like shifting the blame towards me that I've changed, that I don't have a sense of humor anymore. And it's really interesting because there's two sides. There's the side where I wasn't setting boundaries before, even though I didn't like what was going on, but I was just too afraid to set the boundaries. So I can't really blame the other person for being like shocked, because here's me for years and years and years being seemingly okay with a certain type of behavior. And suddenly I'm not okay with it. And it wasn't that suddenly I'm not okay with it. It was that I finally decided after years to stand up
do
for
something
myself
about it.
and
Yeah.
do something about it. And I almost felt like, can't really blame the other person for getting upset because they were just used to a certain way. But the good news is, I did it enough times and I really stood my ground. You have to be really strong inside yourself and realize what is acceptable for you or not. Mm-hmm. And if you hang on to that and you hang on to your principles, then over time it's like, oh, okay, this is the new normal. All right, we're going to go with this because this is not just like her PMSing or having a bad day. This is what the new normal is in terms of communication. So that was very interesting, that process. And I wanted to mention it just so people are aware that it's not so always smooth sailing setting boundaries. It's not like you're
and
going
I
to set a
think it's
boundary
like,
and everyone's going to be like, okay, there might be some
oh,
rough
she's got a
waters.
new boundary. Yay.
There might be some
Yeah.
rough waters.
No, yeah, I lost friends.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and looking back, I guess they weren't friends, but like, I lost friends. Like, it's just gonna be that way. Like, but God, I mean, a year ago, I had I had people that were just not real in my life. And now I was like surrounded, like, I look around and I have like all these amazing people that are not taking. And it's like so cool. And I do think it's partly and because of this boundary setting and being in the driver's seat of our life. Like, oh, and I wanted to what you were speaking to, you know, I think that we need to probably understand pretty quickly. And I hope that I teach Scarlett this, that like, you're allowed to change.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're allowed to change.
Yes.
People don't like you to change.
That's really important because, yeah, what maybe was acceptable to me 5 years ago is no longer acceptable to me, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Like, we're allowed to change big time. If you think you knew me at 18 and you think you still know me, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're way off.
Line, you've changed. Well, that's allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. You've changed.
That's allowed.
Thank God. Why haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's the one thing that we're supposed to be doing. And I have in the past changed for the worse sometimes. Like, I circle back to being better, but sometimes I get like,
Yeah.
I take a turn down shit town and then I come back up to,
We are not saints.
No.
Yeah. So, how about, because we talked about emotional, how about our other big one was in terms of time? Like you mentioned the Wednesdays, you keep it for your family. Anything else? Have you started saying no more, yes more? Like, how's that been managing
I don't
your
go
time?
to anything I don't want to go to anymore.
I love that.
I'm so fucking done. That's how I used to be.
Yeah.
And then I kind of I was people pleased my way. Like, I started taking more people pleasing. And like, I mean, I don't do anything I don't want to do anymore.
I love that.
And I think it's partially because of this podcast and this Chase Hill's book helped. But it's just, I've gotten so much back to my own self this year. It's so wonderful. Like, if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. And it turns out that is very empowering.
Yeah. I love that.
How about you?
Yeah, I've stopped explaining myself because I used to say no and then I would explain so they would feel better about me saying no. I've stopped doing that. I just say no.
I love that.
I can't. Sorry. I no longer give the whole backstory because I realized that was feeding my codependency and my fear. Like, it's feeding it, you know, because like, oh, they're going to be mad. So I have to explain why I can't go, or I have to explain why I can't do something. And now I'm just saying, no, I can't. And that is so empowering. So there's a saying in Polish that only the guilty explain, or something like that. So I'm like, why am I explaining something as if I was like defending myself, as if I'm guilty of something? So I've just stopped doing that, and it has been super empowering. Like, it's really hard though at first because you want to like give the whole like, I can't because
Did I ever tell you?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you, like, when I first was single and I had moved to the Chicagoland area and I was living by myself and I started going out, when people would invite me out, I would, if I didn't want to go, I'd say, no, I have plans with my friend Chuck. But I named my couch Chuck.
You did tell me that. Yeah.
So I had Chuck and I would hang out, and
Your couch.
because I
funny.
I didn't want to say no. I want to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that fear, fear of not being good enough. It's like, oh, I gotta come up with some really good excuse, and I've stopped doing that. So,
My girlfriends now, like my friends, like I have this big core group of friends that like we've really gotten oddly closer this year.
yeah.
They would be totally fine with me saying, no, I'm tired. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
and I
want to
think
go.
most people would be, but we sometimes project on others like, oh, maybe they wouldn't be. So,
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like most people actually are just caring about themselves.
yeah.
They're not going to be like, you know what I mean? Like I know if my friend Lena said, no, I'm tired, I don't want to go, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Do you need me to bring you anything if you're tired? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I would just
Yeah.
be thinking about, oh, she's tired. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know? So that's good. What else? What else did this book say? I left my notes at home. So
Oh, I think
I left my
those were
home. My dog ate my homework.
I think those were the two things we struggled with. So like setting emotional boundaries, and setting boundaries in terms of our time. And then I think we might have talked about, and I think we did about boundaries with our families. So
I've
yeah,
had big
how
time boundaries with my
yeah,
with my family. Yeah. Huge. We had like this year was really a hard year because I was like my mom has gone into recovery.
mm-hmm.
She wouldn't mind me saying that. She posts on Facebook. So
Yeah,
like
so
it's
it's
fine.
all yeah.
So but before she went, like we were in a real power struggle like between my parents and I was like trying to control the situation and I was, you know, like taking everything like so hard. And I told you my dad said, you know, you're not my mother. And it was so freeing to hear that. And I've just like, I've actually let my parents have their own issues. Like, it's been wonderful and they're fine. They're absolutely
Yeah.
fine. But like, I'm just living my like little life with Scarlett and Jason. And I've set like I'm not in charge of anybody's problems.
Love that.
And nobody's died. It's so weird.
These have survived without your involvement. Yeah, it's amazing. So this book helped. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It did change something, and I think the first step for anybody who's considering reading this book is just to make yourself aware of what boundaries you need.
Yeah.
It's worth looking at. I think
think
that's
that,
the
like,
first step.
Taking inventory of what exhausts you.
Yeah, exactly. Where's your energy going? And is
Yeah,
it going
what
to where,
is
yeah, is it replenishing you?
and I like if I had to do it all over again earlier, I would see who I feel better after being with and who I feel worse after being with.
Yeah, that's a good barometer.
I think that's a really good thing. Is that it?
Yeah.
Let's just pretend we know what a barometer is.
Measure
Do I
something.
look like a fucking weatherman here?
All right. Well, I love you. So thank you, Chase Hill. Yeah, you
Yes,
helped us.
thank
You really
you.
did help
Yeah.
us, and I'm glad we revisited this topic. Any moving forward, any boundaries that still you need to set, or are you feeling pretty good about it? How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling really good. And I've just recently taken on this thing where I'm just not doing unhealthy things for my body.
Okay.
I'm just done. I'm like, I've set a boundary for my body.
Good.
Yeah.
I need
It's
to do
like,
that.
it
I need
feels
to do
so
that.
good. I'm like, you know what? No, no more. Like, only healthy things in this body. I'm like being super like bitchy about it.
Cool.
I'm
That's
just
good.
like
That's a
being
good
mama
boundary
bear
to
for
set.
myself. I do want you to know for next week, I just finished Manifest, the book that we're reading by what's her name? Roxy.
Why do I want to say Roxy Carmichael? But that's not it.
It's not. It's not. It's Roxy Nafusi. Roxy Nafusi, which is a badass name.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to read this book. It's
Okay.
so good. I'm so
Next week.
excited for us to do it next
And
week.
it's episode 69. We're going to manifest. I would not want to manifest a 69. That was like, can I manifest?
My favorite line. My favorite line in Sex and the City is no one's enjoyed the 69 since 1969.
All right. Well,
But, yeah.
I love you. This has been a great episode. I'm glad we have
Rehash.
these boundaries, and it's cool. It's really cool to see progress. So
I love it. I love it. So everybody go out and get Chase Hill's book called
Healthy Boundaries.
Healthy Boundaries. Go to Audible and get it. But also get Manifest by Roxy Nafusi. We're reading it we're reviewing it next week. And I have so much to say.
Oh, I can't wait. I haven't started yet, so I'm going to start today. Yay!
Yeah, I finished
All
it
right.
today. I'm going to read it again. I love it.
Cool.
It's so good. All right. I love you,
All right.
and I'll see you next
I love you
Tuesday.
too. See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast, the duct tape of self-help.
Please visit our website, weneedhelpthepodcast.com, where you can find links to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and all the others, so you'll never miss a show.
You'll also find links to the books we've reviewed and our amazing store.
If you enjoy this podcast, go right now, because if you're anything like us, you'll never do it later. Like and share our page and episodes on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or just tell a friend about the show. That would help us out too.
Also, feel free to let us know what you need help with, and we'll try to cover it in a future episode. You can also find us on Instagram at we need help _ the podcast.
Thank you for listening.